Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the PSP 3000 and see how this particular gaming console holds up in 2025. Now, there's a lot of different things to keep in mind here, right? I personally do think that if you're going to go through and pick up some sort of device, especially a gaming console, I definitely do think something like a PSP 3000 is still worth buying in some capacity. It may not be the first device or first gaming console I'd recommend people to buy, but there's still a lot of value behind getting a gaming console that basically gives you the original experience how a particular gaming console and games were supposed to be played inside the palm of your hand. Now, I will say the PSP 3000, there are lots and lots of ways to emulate a PSP game, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can emulate the hardware right in your hand without actually buying some sort of hardware. The PSP 3000 came out many, many years ago, right? And the best benefit, one of the biggest benefits of the PSP 3000 was that it was a very sleek and slim design. Its whole motto was basically to go through and give us a very powerful console, give us a good screen, a great screen at that time, maybe now an okay screen, but have it to be a small, sleeker type of console for people to kind of carry. It was still giving you a pretty big size display. It was still giving you that battery that you can remove. It was giving you expandable storage, things like that. But it was kind of going through and kind of giving you maybe a little bit of a, different type of experience than maybe the original PSP. So the original PSP was this really matte textured device. The PSP 3000 was a little bit different. So another really big benefit of the PSP 3000 you have to remember is the amount of games that are basically available for this type of device. For this gaming console, there are tons and tons of different games that you can go out and play. There were a couple backwards compatible games, I think original PlayStation games that you can play on this thing too. So that right there was another really big benefit. And when I kind of take a look at this gaming console from that standpoint, that right there is a really cool thing to remember here within this type of device. So there's a lot of different games that you can go through and play inside of this gaming console. There's a lot of different modding capability behind it too. If you mod it, there's even more types of games that you can play from older existing type of consoles. So I think that right there is another really cool thing to remember here for this type of gaming console. Again, maybe it's not perfect, and there are some downsides of this console for sure, but I definitely do think from that standpoint, from an affordability standpoint for how old it is, I do think Sony did a really good job for this type of console when it came down to it from that standpoint. Now, I think another really important thing to keep in mind here though, for the most part, is that with something like, Powerbeat, with something like the PSP 3000, it's a little bit of an outdated type of system, right? The screen itself is definitely showing its age. It's a low resolution. It's not that fast. The official games and online multiplayer, online services in general have already been kind of turned off. So there's no way to go ahead and play any of those games natively inside of this thing without having to buy the UMD, disc, or if you have the games already available on your PlayStation account, then you might still be able to access some things like that, but you're not really going to be getting any sort of capability from that standpoint when it kind of comes down to it. So that is going to be a little bit of a downside. Again, it may not be the biggest deal in the world, but it will be kind of an annoyance for some people, and it really just depends on how you're going to kind of take a look at it from that side. But I will tell you, with the PSP, 3000, I think there's still some value in this type of gaming console. And like I said, it means a lot to go through and buy a console that you can kind of play the original hardware in. But with that being said, like I said, I don't know if this would necessarily be the first type of gaming console I'd recommend people to buy when there's a lot of different ways to play PSP, games in general. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.